Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever and whatever time you are listening to us. I am Noman Yakat, your mentor. And in this video, we are going to explain what is IAS2 inventories basically. So let's start discussion about what is IAS2 inventories basically. What we are going to study in this topic basically in these slides. First of all, we will be covering what is inventory, then what it is initial measurement, what are measurement method, various measurement methods, how we can calculate, then subsequent measurement, further key points, various examples that we will be discussing, and finally there will be some disclosures as well. So these are contents of IS2 that we are going to discuss. Before discussing initial measurement, mostly students start with the initial measurement, but first of all, you should be remember that what is inventory. Normally, normally students think basically inventory is something that is just like work in progress or that is within your premises. Not necessarily inventory. The basic definition, basic theme of inventory is basically anything that is for resale purposes. Anything, any item for resale purposes is called inventory. It could be anything. It could be finished goods, it could be building, it could be anything whose intention, whose purpose is for just reselling. It is called as inventory basically. So one thing that we should keep in our mind that it is not necessarily just like some units, some stock in our premises, it will be inventory. Anything could be inventory. So anything that is for resale purposes, any item that is for resale purposes will be called as inventory. So when we know and that this is the inventory, this is the definition of inventory, so how we can proceed basically, so we have to record this inventory basically, and most of the assets that will be recorded, they will be measured from two point of view. First of all, initial measurement, and second it will be subsequent measurement. So let's start with the initial measurement. Most of our assets that we will be going out, that we will be studying, will be initially measured at cost. I have used the term mostly. It is not 100% because we have some exception in IS 41 and some other standards as well. So most of our assets will be initially measured at cost. So what is meant by cost and what things are basically being included in our cost as well. Cost includes purchase cost, conversion cost, and any other cost to bring the asset into current condition and location. These items will be definition will be included as a part of cost as well. So let's discuss individually in much detail what is meant by purchase cost, conversion cost, and any other cost as well. First of all, let's discuss purchase cost. Purchase cost includes purchase cost means purchase price and some other items as well. First of all, the amount of money that you are going to pay, this is called as purchase price. Whatever amount you are going to pay, this will be called as purchase price. But you have to adjust discounts and rebate. I am pretty sure that everyone will be aware with the discounts term. That's basically a reduction in the price. That is called as discount. Rebates, they are also a kind of discount. They are also a kind of discount basically. What is the basic purpose of rebate? The basic purpose of rebates is just to provide you facility to customer basically. They give you an opportunity. So your price will be reduced. This is a discount. Just like refund, discount, reduction in the price, it is called as rebate. So you have to adjust the discounts and rebate into your purchase price. Then import duties. For example, if you import some raw material from another country, then import duties will be your part of cost as well. Because definitely an entity has incurred the cost, so they have to cover their costs, they have to cover their import duties, import taxes, charges, so how they can cover it up. So you should include these calculations these items into part of your cost calculation. Then taxes. Taxes are of two types. One is recoverable or refundable, and second is irrecoverable. Recoverable taxes means those type of taxes that will be recovered. Sooner or later, that will be recovered from the taxation authorities, from government authorities. These are called as recoverable taxes. And second type of taxes, it is called as irrecoverable taxes. So what type of taxes you should include in your calculation? Either it should be recoverable or it should be irrecoverable. You should not include recoverable taxes in your calculation because they will be recovered to you. So only irrecoverable taxes will be included into your definition of cost basically, because they will not be recovered to you. So how you can recover them? So you can charge to your customer. These taxes will be part of your cost, and then you can recover them from your customer as well. These are called as irrecoverable taxes. Then it's about the transportation costs, handling costs, and any other directly attributable cost. What is meant by transportation costs? Transportation costs mean if you are transferring material from one part to another part, basically, just like from one city to another city, then the transportation cost will also be a part of your purchase cost. Then handling costs, if you are handling your material, then it will also be a part of purchase cost. And then any other cost, but not any other, it means any other directly attributable cost. If it is a directly attributable cost, then it would be a part of purchase cost. Otherwise it would not be a part of purchase cost. It might be expense out into your profit and loss statement. Second thing, it is basically conversion cost. What is meant by conversion cost? Conversion cost means converting. So you can convert your direct material. In short, you can convert your raw material basically. So your raw material will be, when progress, when it will be processed, then it will be converted into work in progress, that is called as WIP, and then it will become a finished goods basically. So as a part of finished good, it would be your inventory, and then you can sell them out as well. So any other cost that is conversion related basically. So it cost should also be included into your purchase cost basically, into your conversion cost basically. And this cost of purchase cost and conversion cost would be a part of your calculation. So what type of conversion cost we can expect? It could be material, it could be labor, it could be expenses, and it could be a proportion of fixed and variable production overheads basically. And you should allocate those overheads basically, fixed and variable production overhead. And these overheads are basically allocated on the level of activity, how much activity you are performing basically, how many units you are producing, and so on. It depends on your relevant basis. It depends on your activity level. So you have to charge your overheads on your reasonable, on a certain basis. And finally, it is about some sort of other cost, just like abnormal wastages, storage costs, administration costs, selling costs. All of these costs should be excluded from your valuation, and these costs should be charged as an expense in the period when they are incurred basically. So you should charge them into your profit and loss statement basically. So all of these costs of abnormal wastages, storage costs, administration costs, just like managing those inventories, managing those items, and selling costs, all of these costs should be excluded from your valuation and should be charged as an expense whenever they will be incurred. So It's basically about the cost measurement, how we can initially measure our an item of inventory. We have left with one point, and let's discuss this one point basically. And the point is basically any other cost to bring the asset into its present condition and location basically. Just like take the example, for example, you have bought the inventory, you have bought the raw material from another location, another city basically, and you have to carry out the material, load it into relevant vehicle, and then unload it into your premises basically. So all of this expenditure, all of these costs will be a part of your initial measurement, and these type of costs, these items would be included into your initial measurement of inventory basically. So any the cost to bring the asset into its present condition, current condition and location would be a part of your cost calculation. Now, let's discuss what are the measurement methods basically. There are three measurement methods for calculating a cost. And these methods are actual unit cost methods, FIFO or FIFO, first in, first out. And last one is basically the APCO, that is called as weighted average cost method basically. I am pretty sure that all of you would be familiar with these three methods: actual unit cost method, first in, first out, and APCO, or what is the average cost method. And these methods have already been covered into our basic studies. So we can use any method basically. Previously, they also allowed the LIFO last in, first out, but IAS, IFRS have removed LIFO, so we cannot use LIFO anymore. We can only use actual unit cost method, first in first out method, and FCO method as well. And there is an important note as well, and where items of inventory are not ordinarily interchangeable, where you cannot interchange those items of inventory. So what will happen basically, so we only have one option, so we should use actual unit cost method in that case, and items are not interchangeable. But when they are interchangeable, so we can use FIFO, we can use FCO, or we can use the actual unit cost method. So it depends on us basically. Now, let's discuss what is the subsequent measurement. Initially, we discuss initial measurement. What is initial measurement? Let me repeat it again. Initial measurement means when you are recording initially, and subsequent measurement means when you are recording it subsequently. Subsequently means later on. This is called as subsequent measurement. So recording subsequent measurement inventories. So what will happen basically when they will be recording them later on basically. So they might be sold at below cost. It is quite possible. For example, you have bought an item of inventory, let's say at $10, but it is quite possible that due to some uncertain reason, just like if your inventory is being damaged out, or if there is a decline in the market, or due to some other competitive reason, you might have to sell out this inventory less than $10 as well. So it is quite possible that you might be selling them at $9 as well. It is quite possible as well. So when you will be having this type of scenario, it means you are selling your item below cost as well. So it might lead to your loss as well. So this is the subsequent measurement. So IS2 requires that inventories that needs to be written down basically. So you have to record a loss basically. What you have to do, you have to record inventories at lower of cost and NRV, that is net realizable value. So you have to take two areas according to IAS2, that is cost and that is NRV, and you have to take lower of and not the higher of basically. So this is the point. Take the lower of cost and NRV, net realizable value, and then record your item of inventory. If we consider, and then why we are considering and why we are taking the lower of and not the higher of, this is the point of consideration. And there are few logics, few reasons why we are and taking this lower of, and why we are not taking the higher of basically. So let's discuss what are the reasons, what are the rationales behind this reason why we are taking a lower of. For example, just take the example. Let's consider that our NRV is 75. So what happens basically, first of all, if we compare, then we have two options basically. Our cost is 100 and our NRV is 75. So what should be done basically? According to the rule of IAS2, we should record them at lower of cost for NRV, and we should record our inventory at this value of 75. So our inventory should be recorded at this, should be recorded at this value, that is of 75. It should be recorded at the 75. So what will happen, just consider this example. We have selling price of $80, but our cost is 100. So in this case we are having a loss. This is the loss situation, loss of 20. But one, if we are recording our inventory at NRV, then our NRV is 75, but our selling price is 80. So in this case, we are having a profit. We are having a gain of $5. So let's see what's happening out here. Let me change the color of markers. Now you are having a profit of 5, but you are having a loss of 20. What going on basically? What's going on? If you are recording an item of inventory at cost, then you are having a loss. If you are recording at NRV, then you are having a profit. So if you go for unethical reason, if management try to manipulate those areas, those point of view, what they do basically, they do not record it at NRV, they record it at cost, because they know that their cost is higher than NRV. If they will sell at lower price in market, then what will happen, they will incur a loss. When you have a loss, then you can claim the tax relief. So you can claim some sort of tax reliefs basically, tax refunds, tax relief, various types of arrangement basically, and you can have a lot of other arrangement. That's why they do not try to go for in this calculation. They always go for manipulation and a lot of unethical practices. So you have to be aware that inventories are always recorded at lower of cost or N. Let's say, and if in this condition, in this reason, as I discussed, if our cost is 100 and our NRV is 75 and you have a loss, obviously we have a loss of 25, that's a loss. So you can record this loss. And how we can record this loss basically? Debit profit and loss 25 and crediting the inventory by 25. So you can record this loss. This is something different, and the previous entry that we discussed about sale is something different as well. But overall these are the same thing. So you have to understand how we have to record. First of all, we have to record it at lower of cost or NRV, and then secondly we have to mention what is our selling price. Then first of all we will determine this thing, what is lower of, then we have to use our selling price as a comparative basis. Now, discussing what is NRV. Hopefully, you will know what is NRV. NRV means net realizable value, estimated proceeds from selling the inventory. Basically, if you are going to sell out your part of inventory into your market, then what will be your selling price? How much cost you have to bear? Just like in the form of selling cost, transaction cost, some agent's fee basically, and if there is any other cost to completion, then what will happen? For example, if your item of inventory is a part of progress basically and it will be completed, so take out the cost of completion and also consider the selling cost. So we can derive a formula for NRV. Selling price minus cost to completion and also deducting the selling cost. So these are the points that we have to consider. Selling price minus cost to completion and selling cost. So this will be NRV calculation. Selling price minus cost to completion and minus selling cost. This is the NRV formula. So other key points that we have to consider, these are a bit technical, so we have to be careful what we are discussing it here basically. First of all, let's discuss point 2 and 3, and then we will be discussing this point as well. For example, we have inventory and there are a lot of items and these items are similar items. Those similar items can be grouped together because we know if we have different items, then definitely we have to treat them differently. But if we have similar items, then we can group together. But the condition is that they have to be sold in the same market. If they are being sold in the same market, then we can group together as well. So what will happen? We can make a group of list inventory. We can make a list of those inventory items basically, and then we can record them in a sequence. Then we can record them accordingly. So it will be easy. So less easy work, bit more easy work, not complexity for the accountants. So if you have similar items, similar properties, then you can record them and you can group them. But the condition is that they have to be sold in the same market. Another point, sale of inventory after the reporting date, after the year end, provides strong evidence about its NRV at the reporting date. For example, if you are selling an item of inventory after the year end, so what happened? If you are selling an item after year end, then it means its market, its selling price, its things existed at the reporting date, and it provides the relevant evidence basically. So it means if you are selling an item after year end, after reporting date, then it provides an indication, it provides an evidence that its market existed at the reporting date. Now, discussing the first point. The point is that basically your raw materials are not written down below cost. But what is the condition? Raw materials are not written down below cost. If finished good, they will form a part, will be sold at a profit. For example, just consider the point, you have a raw material, but this raw material will be used and it will be used and then some finished goods will be produced. And if some finished goods will be produced with the help of this raw material, so you cannot say that the price of this raw material is less, is lower. Why? Why you cannot say? Because you know that this raw material can be used to prepare some finished goods, and these finished goods will be sold at a profit in market. So you cannot have a loss, because if you are having this situation, then definitely you should avoid such kind of situation, and it is not allowed by IAS. First point. So you should not written down below cost if you know that this finished good will be sold at a profit. You can use this raw material later on and you can have some finished goods, and those finished goods will be part of your profit. But what if situation change? If there is a decline in raw material prices in market, yes, what will happen basically? If your NRV is below cost, if your prices are going to be changed, so what will happen? So it means your replacement cost provides strong evidence for your NRV. For example, let's discuss one slide, one point of view, and then you will be having a clear idea about this point. Raw materials costing $12,000 bought for processing and assembly for a profitable special order. Profitable special order, this was the initial cost, initial measurement. Since buying these items, the cost price of raw material has fallen to $10,000. Your cost has gone down in the market. So what will happen? Basically, student will apply the rule of just like a law of. Normally, they will apply the rule of law of cost and NRV, and most of them will be saying that their cost is 12,000 and then their NRV is 10,000, and they have to record them on 10,000 as well. No, this is completely wrong. This is not accurate. Basically, there is not a rule of law. Why this is not a rule of law? If you see the statement, since buying these items, your cost price has fallen. It means this is not your NRV. This is your replacement cost. So this is your replacement cost. So in this case, what will happen? So we have to record our inventory, our item at replacement cost basically. So in this case, what we are going to do, we have to record them at our replacement cost basically, or not. No, IS2 does not allow any replacement cost. So we have to record them at 12,000 only. So our answer will be 12,000. We have to record them at $12,000 basically. So there is a no rule of NRV. IS2 discuss replacement cost. Yes, 10,000 is a replacement cost and not the NRV. But we have to record them at $12,000, that is cost. Because IS2 discussed 2 points of measurement, that is lower of cost or NRV. Now cost is 12,000. There is a no condition, no definition, no point of view of NRV. So how we can determine what would be its NRV? So we have to record them at $12,000 basically. So this was the question. Now, I hope this first point will be clear with this point of view. And this is the answer. Raw materials are not written down below cost. If finished good, they will form a part of will be sold out at a profit, as we discussed in the previous slide. If your raw materials are going to be used for some processing, for some finished goods, then definitely you cannot sell them at your below cost. And in this case, your inventory should be valued at $12,000 basically. And $10,000 is a replacement cost and not the NRV. Be careful about this point of view. Let's take another example. In accordance with IS2 inventories, at what amount should the above items be valued? What value we should use for this calculation? Equipment constructed for a customer for an agreed price of $18,000, that's your selling price. This has recently been completed at a cost of $16,800. It has now been discovered that in order to meet certain regulations, conversion with an extra cost of $4,200 will be required. The customer has accepted partial responsibility and agreed to meet half of the extra cost. Initially, you discussed a contract with a customer and your price agreed was $18,000. This was completed at a cost of $16,800. That's good. It means there was some profit for the entity. But now it has been discovered that in order to meet certain regulation, conversion with an extra cost of $4,200 is required. It means you have to incur extra $4,200 basically. So what will happen? Who will bear this cost of $4,200? Either customer has to pay for this cost or the entity has to afford this cost basically. When you initiated a contract, when you discussed the contract, then no one had the idea that there will be some new regulation. So they mutually agreed that half of the cost will be paid by the customer and half of the cost will be paid by the entity. So this 4200 will be split into two point of view, 2100 and 2100, putting the commas as well. This is the cost for customer and this is the cost for the entity as well. But point is that according to IS2 inventories, at what amount should be above items, they should be recorded. This is our point of view. So what will happen basically, first of all, the mistake of student, what they will be doing, they will be saying that their cost is 16,800. This is their cost. And additionally, 2,100 is also their cost. So they will be saying that now their final cost is 18,900. Their selling price is 18,000 and you are having a loss of 900. This is a treatment that most of the students will be doing it out basically. No, this is a wrong treatment. You should not apply this treatment because this is the wrong treatment. Why I have done this calculation? I have just done this calculation to make you aware what most of the students will be doing in this type of situation, in this scenario. So what is our right answer? Let me change the color of marker. Your selling price is 18,000 and it was agreed. This is a key point. It was agreed. If it could not been agreed, then definitely it could have a different situation and different impact. But now entity has to pay the share. It means entity share has been reduced from 2,100. When it has been reduced from 2,100, then what will happen basically? Your revised NRV is 15,900. Your NRV is 15,900. Your cost is same, that is 16,800, and you have to record them at lower of cost or NRV, which is 15,900. Although we have a same loss of 900 in this case as well, and this loss has same figure, but technically this is wrong and this is the right treatment and correct treatment, because we have agreed a price already of 18,000. We have to incur extra cost of 2,100. It means our share will be reduced, our profit will be reduced. And how we can reduce it? This is 2,100 that will be adjusted against 18,000, and now our revised NRV is 15,900. Our cost is 16,800, and we have a loss of $900. And we have to record it accordingly, basically. And this is a relevant treatment, basically. And this is the answer. Contract price 18,000, share of modification cost 2,100, NRV is 15,900. This NRV is 15,900 is below cost of $18,000. So inventory should be recorded at $15,900 as I discussed in our previous slide, basically. So this is our treatment that we should adopt and that we should use basically. I hope you have enjoyed our this session. This was an example. Now let's move to our last slide, that is basically about the disclosure side. So we should record what is the total carrying value of inventories by each category. We should also provide detail of inventories carried at NRV, net realizable value. So there might be some other disclosures as well, but as I discussed in start, we are just discussing this topic from our exam point of view. So thank you very much for listening. If you have any question, any doubt, you are more than welcome to discuss with us, and there are a lot of contact detail. You can WhatsApp your question. Also, you can drop a message on our Facebook page, Accountancy and Finance Training Center, and you can directly discuss your questions with. Good luck to your exam. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day. Bye.